Hey there, welcome back once again. It is time for the golden age of DC Comics, 365 days, where I take this beloved hardcover coffee table book given to me by one of my best friends about 2 decades ago. This has been surfing my coffee table ever since, and it's a great source of comic book conversation, the kind we used to have back in the comic book shops. And that's what I'm looking to do here, recreate those conversations and that vibe. I like to start off with a few words about the book itself. There's a link in the description. Last time I checked, I believe it's about $12 or so if you want your own copy. And it's a 2004 Abrams publication, written and curated by Les Daniels, Chip Kidd, and Geoff Spear. I use this book for its intended purpose. It's a page a day. I open to today's date. We look at some comic book art. We read the blurb, and then we talk about comic books. And we're going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. Tune in 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern. That's when we talk about comic books. First and secondly, I'd like to give you gratitude. I am blessed that you have tuned in today. I take very high stock in escapism, and we need escapism as a necessary ingredient to flex our imaginations. And in our modern day, we're being used more and more. Our fictions are being used for activism and for one-sided agenda. If that's how you see it, that's how I see it. It's just my opinion. Yet we're losing that escapism. We need to forget this planet's worries just for a few moments every day. And a comic book can do that. It's maybe music, art, a TV show, a movie. I mean, seriously, don't let anyone bully you into saying that activism is greater than escapism, because it's the opposite. I mean, there is a place for activism, and but do we have to be constantly lectured and reminded? No, we need a quick break from this stuff. We'll come back to it and then take care of the problems. We can do both. Don't let anyone sell you on the illusion of non-choice. And what goes great with a coffee table book and a coffee table? Pull up a chair, and we're going to have some freshly brewed coffee. Have a cuppa. Ooh, Guatemalan Huehuetenago, a medium to dark roast. This is so good. But let's get to it. The golden age of DC Comics runs between 1938 and 1955. The Silver Age, 1955 to 1970. The Bronze Age, I'm a Bronze Age baby, 1970 to 1985. And the Copper Age runs from 1985 until, I say, 2000. And that there was a Millennium Age between 2000 and 2015. And we're currently in a new age of comics. Yeah, since 2015. Yeah, and there's a conversation there as well. I'd love for you to be part of that. So come aboard and let's crack the book open. Today is June the 10th, and we have got one of the most famous bald people in comic books. No, not me. We're talking Superman's nemesis, Lex Luthor. Here, let's look at the art. Neither blazing volcanoes, nor flying bullets, not even atom bombs or the most terrible engines of destruction devised by his enemies have ever been able to harm Superman. Yet a mere pearl, a handful, a few. You see, it clips off that narrative box there. But there we see Superman. We see Lex Luthor, very happy to be putting Superman into an uncomfortable situation. And so let's read this blurb, and then we'll get to it. Do I have show? I have show notes. I use show notes. I use show notes. I have show notes. This is story by Alvin Schwartz, pencils by Wayne Boring, who is a not so boring artist. He's a famous Superman artist. I need to wet my whistle. There we go. Inks by Stan K. This is from Action Comics number 141 from February of 1950. And this is great because this is probably one of the last appearances of Luthor, because Luthor vanished for a long time. I'm reading this from the wiki, and he came back in Superboy number 59 in 1957 at the beginning of the Silver Age. So, June 10th. Described as a quote-unquote criminal genius, Lex Luthor has been the consummate foe of Superman ever since the villain was first introduced in 1940. Today, Luthor is depicted as a fiendish financier, but for most of his career, he was the archetypical mad scientist. In this story, Luthor's secret weapon, the hairless malefactor, is chortling over the invention of an artificial kryptonite, the malevolent mineral from Superman's home planet. That is the only thing that can lay the hero low. And the cherry on the cake is that Superman has been forced to bring Luthor all the exotic ingredients for the secret weapon in order to protect hostage Lois Lane. Of course, Superman prevails. During the confusion, some of the synthetic kryptonite is stolen by a pickpocket named Danny the Dip. His adventures extend into the next issue, a rare example from this era of DC of a continued story. That's interesting, because most comic books are written in 6 parts, to eventually, over 6 issues, 6 individual floppy magazines, to be collected eventually into what we call the trade paperback, and that's the goal of a publication these days. But yeah, this is that's Lex Luthor, and here's an interesting tidbit. I'm going to read this from the wiki. In Luthor's earliest appearances, he is shown as a middle-aged man with a full head of red hair. Less than a year later, however, an artistic mistake resulted in Luthor being depicted as completely bald in a newspaper strip. Not only was Superman in comic books, but there were movies, there were radio shows, and a daily newspaper strip. And that's where the big comics went, was the daily newspaper. Everyone read newspapers. Only, kids read funny books. You know what I mean? The original era is attributed to Leo Nowak, the studio artist who illustrated Superman dailies during this period. One hypothesis is that Nowak mistook Luthor for the Ultra-Humanite, a recurring mad scientist foe of Superman, who, in his Golden Age incarnation, resembled a balding elderly man. Other evidence suggests Luthor's design was confused with that of a stockier bald henchman in Superman number 4 of spring 1940. Luthor's next appearance occurs in Superman number 10, May 1941, in which Nowak depicts him as a significantly heavier with visible jowls. The character's abrupt hair loss has been made reference to several times over the course of his history. In 1960, writer Jerry Siegel altered Luthor's backstory to incorporate his hair loss into his origin, which in Superboy, apparently this is a retcon, retroactive continuity, going back and changing origin stories. Why? To make more room for modern stories, so we can tell more stories. So a retcon is kind of like a double-edged sword, It cuts both ways. That Luthor grew up in Smallville and idolized Superboy. And Luthor, being a child genius, a teen genius, was making artificial life in his lab. And there was an accident and a fire, and he yelled out for help for Superboy. Superboy came, put out the fire, but by doing that, he destroyed Luthor's experiment, and the toxic fumes from that infected Luthor, and he lost all of his red hair. Yeah, and so Luthor blamed Superboy for all that calamity instead of blaming himself for taking an experiment too far. And Luthor is really kind of a great. He's the opposite of Superman. And now Luthor's a lot like Joker. Joker to Batman. Joker is what we call a cipher. I want to look this up real quick and get you a more succinct definition. And a cipher is it's a character, and a let me just character, a cipher character. Well, a cipher is a person, often a fictional character, who is a blank slate, and that's so a cipher has little personality, and the viewer or readers can project their own ideas and values onto that character. So specifically, the writer can make Luthor or Joker anything they need to be to suit story, anything they need to be to challenge the protagonist, namely Batman or Superman, respectively. So Luthor has changed over the past 82 years, from mad scientist to financier to plain out evil bad guy with a mechanized suit and kryptonite at his disposal. In 2000, he was elected president of the United States of America, and that really made Superman mad. And it was also kind of maybe or maybe not prophetic. To about 16 years later, we don't get political on this station or on this show, but I can't help but notice the similarities. But that was a really good storyline, in my humble opinion, was the President Luthor arc. That lasted for a couple of years, and it had some major effects on Superman. But what do you think? Leave a comment in the comment section. We are talking about the golden age of DC Comics, and we're going to be talking about comic books every day for the rest of the year. So tune in tomorrow, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern, and we'll find out who we're talking about when we turn the page tomorrow. We talk about spirituality here. Hashtag lighten up. It's about enlightenment and how spirituality can help improve the quality of your daily life. I'm an amateur theologian, an ordained minister. I love talking about spirituality. So join us here. I'm a professional chef. I share with you my cooking hacks. I have the playlist What's Cooking. Apparently my soups are wicked popular. I make daily content about superheroes and comic books and pop culture. I also have cute animal videos. When I walk to the subway station in the morning, I see bunnies eating their breakfast, and I think it's the cutest thing. And I hear bird song. It's like a Disney movie, the opening of a Disney movie. And I share that with you here. So please tune in, like, subscribe, turn on the notifications, and you know what? Have a great day. I'm very blessed that you're here with me right now. Cheers, good luck, namaste, see you in the funny pages, and we'll do this all again tomorrow at 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern. Ciao, have a good day. Bye-bye.